My wife said she disappeared for 2 hours with a guy who tried to kiss her during her girls' trip for tacos run. She claims she's telling me because one of the girls told her husband, and she doesn't want me to hear it from anyone else. I don't trust her anymore. Sup Reddit. Posting this from my brother's spare room at 3 a.m. because I can't sleep. I'm kinda wrecked mentally right now, and just need to dump this train wreck somewhere anonymous. If you're looking for a happy ending, might want to keep scrolling. Quick stats. I'm 34, male. Been a construction site manager for the last 8 years. Decent money, not Jeff Bezos, but I can afford name brand cereal and the good toilet paper. Been with my wife Amber, 29 female, for 8 years. Married for 5, with 2 awesome kids. 3 female Zoe and 5 male Liam. Little background on me. Grew up in Michigan. Dad was a plumber. Mom was an elementary school teacher. Played football in high school. Linebacker. Not good enough for college ball, but I could hold my own. Did 2 years of community college before dropping out to take an apprenticeship in construction. Worked my butt off, climbed from basic crew to foreman to site manager. I'm the guy who makes sure the buildings don't collapse and nobody dies on my watch. I met Amber at a mutual friend's house party when I was 26. She was the hot friend everyone warned me about. Party girl. Never stayed with a guy longer than a few months. Daddy issues up the wazoo. But damn, she was way out of my league looks-wise. Blonde, gym-toned, always dressed like she was heading to a club. I ignored all the red flags because I was blindsided by her beauty. Classic dumbass move, right? Early on, things were amazing. The honeymoon phase hit hard. Went on spontaneous road trips. She'd bring me lunch at work sites. She was studying marketing at the time, but wasn't super serious about it. When she got pregnant with Liam after we'd been together for 3 years, I proposed immediately. My parents were kinda hesitant. Mom pulled me aside and asked if I was sure. But I was convinced we were solid. Fast forward 5 years. We bought a decent house in the suburbs. I work 50 plus hours a week while Amber teaches yoga part-time, like 2 classes a week, and posts about being a boy mom and her wellness journey on Instagram, where she has like 4,000 followers. She's always been high maintenance, but I figured that was just part of the deal when you marry the hot girl, you know? But our marriage has been fine, I guess. We don't fight much, but she's been complaining more the last year about being trapped with the kids. Her words, not mine, how she lost herself in motherhood, and how all her single friends are living their best lives while she's stuck at home. Meanwhile, I'm busting my ass at construction sites in 95-degree heat, making sure we can afford the fancy organic groceries she insists on buying. So when Amber's college besties planned this 5-day trip to this bougie lake house in Arizona, I actually encouraged her to go. She'd been dropping hints for weeks, showing me their group chat and pictures of the place with its infinity pool and mountain views. Since she's been bitching about being stuck with the kids, I was like, yeah, babe, go have fun. And even gave her $600 spending money that was supposed to go toward fixing my truck. I stayed home with the kids, worked remotely when I could, got my mom to help on the days I had to be on site, and basically juggled everything while she went to find herself or whatever. The first couple days she was gone, she called every night, FaceTimed with the kids, sent me pics of them by the pool with their stupid giant margaritas. Then day 3 hits, and her calls get shorter. Texts get more vague. Having a blast. Miss you guys, but having so much fun. Dot. But she gets back and is acting sketchy as hell. Barely talking, constantly on her phone but hiding the screen, getting pissed at the smallest stuff like me putting the kids' clothes away in the wrong drawers. I figured maybe she's just bummed about coming back to reality and dealing with actual responsibilities again. Then she hits me with this colon. Josh, I need to tell you something that happened on the trip, she says, all dramatic while I'm tucking the kids in like it's just another Tuesday. On the 3rd day, we met some guys at this bar, and one of them, this guy Ryan, was talking to me. When we stepped outside for some air, he tried to kiss me. I stopped what I was doing mid-sentence, just stared at her. My brain immediately started piecing together scenarios I didn't want to imagine. I clenched my jaw so hard it felt like my molars were gonna shatter. But I kept my voice low for the kids' sake. And what exactly did you do? I asked. Calm, but tight. Real tight. She rushed to spit out. But I pushed him away immediately. I told him I was married with kids and went back inside. I nodded once, just once. Said nothing for a full 10 seconds while my ears were burning and my heart felt like it wanted to jump out of my chest and start flipping tables. Inside, I was livid. Who the hell steps outside with some random dude at a bar on a girls' trip? But I didn't snap. I didn't want to scare the kids or give her the satisfaction of seeing me lose my cool. Instead, I looked her dead in the eye and said, glad to know you remembered you had a family. Eventually. Then I walked out of the room before I said something I couldn't take back. I wanted to ask 100 questions. Why were you even outside with him? What were you talking about that needed fresh air? How long were you out there before this kiss happened? But I held back. For now. I believed her, barely. Because 8 years, 2 kids, a mortgage, and joint everything don't just vanish over one stupid moment. Unless, of course, there's more. Boy, was I about to find out how stupid I've been. Fast forward 2 weeks. Things are still weird at home. Amber's jumpy as hell whenever her phone buzzes, and she's been going to bed early, but I can see the glow of her phone under the covers until like 2 a.m. Then last night, while I'm watching the basketball game, she comes in with this face like someone died and sits on the edge of the couch. Josh, there's something else about the trip. I need to tell you before you hear it from someone else. I hit pause on the remote. Seems that trip did her a good favor that things keep coming out of it. But whatever she was about to drop, I already knew it was going to hit harder than the final score. Her tone said it all. She didn't sit, just hovered like she's bracing for impact. Kayla, her friend, told her husband something about the trip. And I know he works at your company, so I didn't want you to hear his version first. I just nodded for her to keep going. She takes a breath. That night, we went to grab tacos. I blinked. You and that random dude named Ryan? The same guy who just tried to kiss you? She nods. It was late, and everyone was hungry after drinking. He offered to drive, said he wanted to talk and apologize. I stared at her. So you got in a car, late at night, alone, with the guy who tried to cross a line with you, for tacos. He was the most sober one there, she says, and he's going through a tough divorce. He just needed someone to talk to. I didn't raise my voice, didn't move, just stared. You sure this was about tacos? I asked. Because the way it's sounding, food wasn't the highlight of the night. She shifted on her feet. We just drove around for a while. Talked. The taco place was far. Far, huh? I pulled up the map on my phone and tilted it so she could see. That place you're talking about. It's about a dozen minutes away from the lake house. Not nearly an hour. She opened her mouth, then closed it. And you said this happened after the kiss, right? So now I'm confused. Because earlier, you said the kiss happened at the end of the trip. She fumbled for an answer. I got the days mixed up. I was drinking. The timeline is fuzzy. The taco place you supposedly went to, I said, scrolling on my phone again. Closes before midnight. But you were out late, right? She nodded slowly. So no tacos. No pictures of tacos. No wrappers. Nothing. Silence. And now your phone's practically glued to your hand. Always face down, always in the bathroom with you, even when you shower. And I walked in the other day and caught you deleting messages. It was spam, she said quickly. I was clearing space. I almost laughed. Your phone's barely used. You've got more space than a warehouse. She sighed, looking annoyed now. You're overthinking it. I told you the days blur together. Ryan was just emotional. He showed me pictures of his dog, okay? He was crying. I didn't say anything for a second. Then, real calm. What made you think it was a good idea to go off alone with a guy who already made a move on you? Why didn't you just stay inside with your friends? With anyone else? Her expression hardened. So what? You don't trust me now? After everything we've been through? She turned on her heel and stormed off to call her mom, the one who's been babying her since day one. Now she's posted up in the guest room, not speaking to me, acting like I'm the one who messed up. Like I'm the bad guy for asking simple questions she should have answered straight the first time. It's wild. All I asked for was the truth. But apparently, that's asking too much. But I'm not crazy, right? This sounded like complete bullshit. We have a mortgage, 2 kids, and 8 years together, and she's acting like I'm the asshole for questioning her obvious lies about getting tacos. Let's be real, we all know what a taco run really means now. I couldn't focus at work the next day. Couldn't sleep. My foreman asked if I was hungover because I looked rough. I kept dropping tools and nearly fell off a scaffold because I was so distracted. I finally texted Mark, Kayla's husband, and was like, hey man, can we grab a beer after work? Need to talk about something. We met at this dingy sports bar near the job site. Dude looked so uncomfortable the minute I walked in. We did the usual, how's work, how's the family small talk for about 5 minutes before I just went for it. So what exactly did Kayla tell you about Amber's trip? He sighs, takes a big gulp of beer and goes, look dude, I hate being in the middle of this shit, but according to Mark, after Ryan tried to kiss Amber on day 3, she did push him away, initially. But Kayla said an hour later, Amber was sitting next to Ryan at the fire pit, laughing at all his jokes, touching his arm, and even let him put his jacket around her when it got chilly. It was 85 degrees. By day 4, everyone in their group was talking about how Amber and Ryan were flirting nonstop. At one point, they were in the hot tub, and Amber was sitting practically in his lap. When they offered to go on this taco run, nobody stopped them because, in Mark's words, everyone could see what was happening. And here's what hit me real hard. They came back 2 hours later with no tacos. Amber's hair was a mess, and her lipstick was gone. Kayla asked where the food was, and Amber just giggled and said, "We got distracted." Ryan had this shit-eating grin on his face the whole night after. My stomach dropped to my boots. I felt like someone had kicked me in the nuts and then set me on fire. "There's more," Mark said, looking like he wanted to be anywhere but there. Apparently, the next morning, Kayla overheard Amber on the phone giving Ryan directions to the lake house. He showed up an hour later, and they went hiking alone. They were gone for 3 hours. On the last day, she spent most of the time texting and giggling at her phone. Mark was pretty decent about it, just giving me the facts without any bro-code judgment. He even said, "For what it's worth, Kayla said she tried to warn Amber not to go, but Amber told her to mind her own business." I thanked Mark for being straight with me and bounced. Sat in my truck in the parking lot for like 30 minutes just staring at nothing. 8 hell years, man. 2 kids. A house we just renovated last summer. And she throws it all away for some vacation exploration? For tacos? I drove around aimlessly for a while, blasting Metallica so I wouldn't have to think. I kept replaying every moment of our relationship, wondering if there were signs I missed, other taco runs I didn't know about. Was I not making enough money? Not paying enough attention to her? My brain was going a million miles an hour. I almost drove to my buddy Eric's place. He's been divorced twice and always said his first wife cheated. But I couldn't face anyone else yet. So I just drove. Stopped for gas. Bought a pack of cigarettes even though I quit when Liam was born. And smoked 3 sitting in a random parking lot. When I finally got home around 9 p.m., Amber was on the couch scrolling through TikTok while the kids were playing in the other room unsupervised. Zoe had spilled juice all over her clothes, and Liam was playing some iPad game with the volume at max. Classic. I sent the kids upstairs to play in their room and sat down across from her. "We need to talk about what really happened in Arizona." She rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, are you still on about that?" "It was nothing. You're being so dramatic." I told her I talked to Mark. Her face went from annoyed to "oh no God" in 0.5 seconds. First, she tried to trash her own friend Kayla. She's always been jealous of me because Ryan was talking to me more than her. She's trying to cause drama because her own marriage sucks. When that didn't work, she tried to discredit Mark. He must have misunderstood what Kayla said. "We did get tacos. And they were, from a different place." I pulled up the taco truck's hours on my phone. "They close at 11. You said you went at midnight." Then I showed her the $78 charge on her card from some hotel bar near the lake at 1 a.m. that night. Expensive tacos. That's when she finally cracked. Fine. We kissed again. But it was just a kiss, and I regretted it immediately. I just stared at her with my best, "are you kidding me" face. She knew I wasn't buying her bullshit. Okay. We made out in his car for a bit. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything. I kept pushing. "What really happened during those 2 hours, Amber? I want the whole truth. Now." The waterworks started. Full-on crocodile tears. We parked by the lake, and things went further. But we didn't do anything. We just did other stuff. It was just physical. Like that makes it better? A handjob isn't technically hooking up, but it's still cheating. "What about the hiking trip the next day?" I asked. She looked stunned that I knew about that. "Who told you? Mark is such a liar. We just walked around the lake. For 3 hours? And let me guess, you gave him a tour of the inside of his car again?" She went into full damage control. "You've been so distant lately. You're always working or with the kids or playing your stupid video games. I was lonely. Ryan actually listened to me. He complimented me and made me feel desired again." Then she tried the "think about Liam and Zoe" card, using our kids as emotional shields. That was the moment I knew it was completely over. Using our kids to cover for her cheating? Nah. "I'm staying at Dave's tonight," I said, referring to my brother. "Don't call me!" "You're leaving?" she shrieked, suddenly panicking. "Over a stupid mistake? It meant nothing. It's not like I'm in love with him." I went upstairs, packed a bag, while she followed me around crying and trying to grab my arm. I told the kids Daddy had to go help Uncle Dave with something, and they'd see me tomorrow. Liam asked why Mommy was crying. I just said grown-up stuff, buddy, and gave them both extra long hugs. I checked our phone records that night on my laptop. Amber had been texting an Arizona number multiple times a day since the trip. Sometimes 40 to 50 texts in a single day. When confronted over text, she claimed, "He just keeps checking on me to make sure I'm okay after what happened." Sure, January. I couldn't even look at her without imagining her giving Ryan the deluxe car package while I was at home taking care of her kids, cleaning her house, and working my ass off to pay for her lifestyle. I stayed at my brother's that night, slept maybe 2 hours total, and called in sick to work the next day. The next morning, I called a divorce lawyer my buddy used when his wife cheated. Guy was a 60-year-old no-bullshit Vietnam vet who specialized in fathers getting screwed in divorce, paid the $3,500 retainer without blinking. I knew we were done. Dave, my brother, was solid through all this. Let me crash at his place. Listen to me rant. Didn't judge when I got trashed and cried like a bitch on his back porch at 2 a.m. He never liked Amber much anyway. Called her high maintenance from day one. Amber went into full panic mode when she realized I was serious. She called me 37 times that day. I only answered once to tell her I'd be by to get more clothes and see the kids. She showed up at Dave's around dinner time, hysterical, saying we needed to talk this through. Dave told her to leave before he called the cops. She left a note on my truck that was basically, "I'll do anything to fix this." Too late. And when I went home to get more stuff and see the kids, she followed me around crying about how she'd do anything to fix it. Therapy, deleting social media, quitting her yoga classes, whatever I wanted. It was just a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. Yeah, forgetting to pay the electric bill is a mistake. Letting some dude finger you in his car is a choice. Her mom called me and had the nerve to say, "Marriage has ups and downs, Josh. You need to be the bigger person here and work through this rough patch." I actually laughed and said, "So if your husband got a blowjob from some random woman, you'd call that a rough patch?" She hung up on me. Meanwhile, my brother and dad were helping me move my essential stuff to my brother's spare room. Dad didn't say much, just, "You're doing the right thing, son," and helped me carry boxes. That's all I needed to hear. And it felt surreal. Like, one week I'm a normal married dude worrying about mortgage rates and my fantasy football lineup. The next, I'm Googling, "How does child custody work?" and getting tested for STDs. Came back negative, thank God. Amber's Instagram went into overdrive. Suddenly, she's posting throwback pics of us as a happy family, quotes about forgiveness, and screenshots of texts between us from years ago. All with captions like, "Fighting for what matters," and "Everyone deserves a second chance." The comments were full of her basic-ass friends saying stuff like, "Stay strong, mama," and "Praying for you guys." Literal circus. Telling the kids daddy was going to be staying at Uncle Dave's for a while was the hardest part. My 5-year-old asked if mommy and daddy were mad at each other. My 3-year-old just cried because she didn't understand. That shit broke me. I filed for divorce 2 weeks after the confession. Then Amber served papers at her yoga class, which her lawyer later claimed was deliberately humiliating. I didn't choose the time or place, but whatever. She called me screaming that I was destroying our family. Pretty sure she destroyed it when she decided tacos were code for sexual favors. Amber moved in with her parents temporarily, while I stayed at my brother's. We started this awkward co-parenting situation where we'd exchange the kids in the Target parking lot without making eye contact. Her dad showed up once to do the exchange and tried to lecture me about commitment. I just said, "Like father, like daughter, I guess," and walked away. About 3 weeks in, I went back to our house to get more clothes and found her wedding ring sitting on my Xbox with a note saying, "I guess these both meant nothing to you." The audacity, though. I took a picture and sent it to my lawyer. She tried everything to win me back. Showed up at my work site with the kids once. My foreman sent her away. Sent me lingerie pics at 2 a.m. with texts like, "Remember what you're missing?" Blocked that number. Had her friends call me to say she was in a really dark place. Don't care. Amber's mom even cornered my mom at the grocery store to beg her to talk sense into me. Mom told her to pound sand. I went through all the emotions. Rage, depression, self-doubt, more rage, brief moments of weakness where I almost called her, then back to rage again. My construction crew noticed and started inviting me out more, which actually helped a lot. Bros before hoes, for real. The divorce process was brutal. Amber hired some shark attorney who specializes in women's divorce rights and tried to paint me as controlling and abusive. Her evidence? I tracked her phone. We share locations for safety. Monitored her spending. We have joint accounts, genius. And isolated her from friends. I literally paid for her girl's trip where she cheated on me. She demanded full custody, claiming I worked too many hours to be a good father. She wanted the house, 70% of our savings, and $2,200 a month in alimony. Her lawyer sent a settlement offer that basically would have left me living in my truck and seeing my kids every other weekend. My lawyer laughed when he read it and said, "They're high on their own supply." He countered with joint legal custody, primary physical custody to me, since I had been the stable parent while she was having her midlife crisis at 29, child support from her, and a 50-50 split of assets minus my pre-marriage 401k. When the negotiations dragged on for months, I was living at Dave's, trying to stay focused at work and spending every moment I could with my kids. I started taking them to the park every weekend, teaching Liam to ride a bike, taking Zoe to daddy-daughter dance classes. I wanted them to know I wasn't going anywhere, even if their mother was a cheating waste of space. Meanwhile, social media stalking, yeah, I know I shouldn't have, showed that Amber and Ryan were still in contact. She flew out to Arizona to see Kayla, sure, for a weekend about 2 months after we separated. Posted no pictures but came back with a suspicious hickey that she tried to hide with a scarf. In June, in Michigan, the divorce proceedings got nasty fast. During a deposition, her lawyer tried claiming I was verbally abusive. I had screenshots of every text we'd ever sent, showing I was nothing but supportive. They tried claiming I was hiding assets. LOL, what assets? They even tried using my brother's DUI from college as evidence I was exposing the kids to unsafe individuals. But then came the custody evaluation. The court-appointed psychologist interviewed us both, watched us with the kids, and reviewed all the evidence. In her report, she noted that I was stable, consistent, and child-focused, while Amber was impulsive, self-centered, and prioritized her own needs. The psych also mentioned Amber's inappropriate relationship during the marriage and her pattern of deception as concerns for her judgment. That report changed everything. Suddenly, Amber's lawyer was calling mine talking settlement. But the damage was done. I wasn't giving an inch on custody. It dragged on for almost a year. A year of my life wasted on lawyer fees, court appearances, and watching Amber's increasingly desperate attempts to either win me back or destroy me, depending on the day. And the custody battle got even nastier. Amber even flew Ryan in to be a character witness, WTF, That backfired spectacularly when my lawyer asked about their relationship timeline, and Ryan admitted they'd been sending nudes back and forth for weeks before the divorce was even filed. Amber's lawyer looked like he was contemplating a career change. When we finally got a court date, the judge was a no-nonsense older woman who had seen it all. After reviewing the evidence, including the text between Amber and Ryan that my lawyer subpoenaed, which included gems like, "I can't wait to be done with this divorce so we can be together for real," she made her ruling: 50-50 legal custody, primary physical custody to me, with Amber getting every other weekend and one evening a week. Child support from Amber, not much since she barely works, but it was the principle. On 50-50 split of marital assets. No alimony. We had to sell the house and split the proceeds. The judge specifically mentioned that Amber's lack of judgment and ongoing deception were factors in the custody decision. She also noted that I had been the more stable parent throughout the separation, maintaining the kids' routines while Amber was focused on her personal relationships. She broke down crying in court. Her mom had to help her out of the room. I just sat there feeling nothing. Not happiness, not relief, just emptiness. This isn't how our story was supposed to end. After the divorce, Amber and Ryan dated officially for about 2 months. He even moved to Michigan temporarily, getting an Airbnb near her parents' place. Shocker. Turns out vacation relationships aren't built on solid foundations. According to Kayla, who's now Team Josh, Ryan ghosted Amber when she started talking about him meeting the kids and maybe moving in together. Apparently, he was also talking to 2 other women the whole time. Karma's real. We sold the house for $380,000. I used my share to buy a smaller place closer to my parents, who help with the kids. It's not fancy, 3-bedroom ranch with a decent yard, but it's ours and Amber's name isn't on it. Amber rented some luxury apartment downtown that she can't really afford, but her parents are subsidizing her fresh start. They're still convinced their daughter is the victim somehow. Amber's been on this bizarre redemption tour lately. She's finding herself through spirituality, according to her new Instagram bio. Got a tiny lotus flower tattoo. Started posting about healing and forgiveness. She sent me this long, rambling letter written on fancy stationery saying, "I destroyed the best thing in my life because I was too selfish to appreciate what I had. I used it to start a bonfire with my buddies." Her sister messaged me on Facebook saying Amber cries herself to sleep and is on antidepressants. Part of me thinks good, and the other part just doesn't give a shit anymore. She made her choices. I had tickets to a concert after our divorce was finalized. I'm betting she didn't think about our family when she was moaning Ryan's name in his car and leaving her kids for a hiking trip. But at least the kids are doing better than I expected. They're in this play therapy program that my insurance surprisingly covers. They still ask sometimes when mommy and daddy are getting back together. I just tell them sometimes grown-ups work better as friends than as husband and wife, but we both love them very much. My son asked last week if mommy's friend Ryan was going to be at her house, so that was a fun conversation. On the upside, I got promoted to regional manager at the construction company, which came with a $15,000 raise. My crew threw me a surprise party at the bar and got me a cake that said, "Congrats on the divorce and the promotion." Those guys kept me sane through all this. I'm still in therapy. My therapist says I've moved from crisis response to rebuilding, which I guess means I'm less likely to punch a hole in the wall when Amber's name comes up. I still have dreams where I'm back in our house and everything's normal. Then I wake up and remember reality. Those are the worst. Dating has been weird. I've been careful, overly careful maybe, because I've got two little ones who don't need any more turbulence in their lives. My brother keeps trying to play matchmaker, throwing his wife's friends into the mix like he's hosting some DIY dating show. Nothing stuck. Most of them were kind, but it felt like I was sitting through interviews, not dates. Then there was Melissa. She teaches kindergarten, has a laugh that makes people turn their heads, and this quiet confidence that doesn't demand attention, it just draws you in. We met at one of Zoe's daycare events, made small talk over juice boxes and finger painting, and I didn't think much of it. But we bumped into each other again at a coffee shop a few days later, and something about her made me pause. Her energy was different. I don't even know how to explain it. There was just charisma. Nothing loud or over the top, but the kind that makes you feel like the noise in your head fades for a bit. But eventually I realized I felt calm around her in a way I hadn't felt in years. No pressure to talk about the divorce unless I wanted to. No performative sympathy. Just quiet understanding and the kind of company that lets you exhale without realizing you've been holding your breath. There's this instinct I didn't expect. When something's weighing on me, I want to tell her. I want to vent, and then just sit next to her and not be the guy who got cheated on, or the dad trying to hold it together. With her, I'm just me, and that's rare. I'm not rushing anything. We both know I've got baggage that hasn't finished unpacking. But the idea of rest, of finally not feeling like I'm constantly bracing for the next hit, that's what Melissa brings. And yeah, it makes me wonder what life could look like if I stopped surviving and started actually living again. And in a weird twist of fate, Kayla and Mark split up too. Turns out Kayla had her own margarita run on a Vegas trip. Mark texted me, "Guess we both married from the same toxic batch." Now we hit the gym together on Saturdays and talk about our exes between sets. Misery loves company, right? The most recent development? Amber's apparently dating her spiritual advisor now. Some 45-year-old dude with a man bun who runs the yoga studio where she works. She wants to introduce him to the kids as her special friend. My lawyer sent a strongly worded letter about the custody agreement's right of first refusal for new partners. But here's what I've taken away from this entire mess. If someone lies about the small stuff, don't kid yourself. They'll lie about the big stuff too. Promises are cheap, patterns are what count. Kids, they bounce back quicker than you'd expect. My son still clings to that old stuffed dinosaur from when he was tiny, but honestly, he's navigating this divorce better than I am half the time. Real friends don't disappear when things get ugly. My construction crew? Oh, solid. My foreman didn't bat an eye when I needed time off, and the guys never pushed unless I brought it up. Just showed up. No questions asked. That's real loyalty. And for any dads out there worried about court, yes, you can get custody if you step up and prove you're the steady one. But you better document everything like it's your full-time job. As for marriage, if I ever do it again, there's going to be a prenup with a clause specifically banning taco runs with strangers. Deal breaker, no discussion. And moving on, it's not some perfect upward climb. Some days I feel okay. Other days I catch myself staring at her car and thinking things that definitely aren't healthy. Apparently, that's all part of the process. Thanks for riding along on this shit show, Reddit bros. Your comments and support got me through the darkest year of my life. Pour one out for the death of my marriage, but also for the birth of my self-respect. And if your wife ever says she's going on a taco run with some random dude at midnight, just start calling divorce lawyers. Trust me. TLDR, wife went on girls' trip, did a taco run with some dude, trickle-truthed about cheating, finally admitted to hooking up with him multiple times, tried to take my kids and money, lost in court, and is now dating her spiritual guru while I'm rebuilding my life one day at a time.